Well, hello there, friends, and welcome back to my kitchen, or should I say, Bon Temps Rouler, or let the good times roll, because today we are celebrating Mardi Gras, one of the most interesting, unique, drunken, and fun celebrations here in the South. Now, I say here loosely because I'm in northern middle Tennessee. Mardi Gras celebrations aren't really a thing here, but they are a religion down south. A little bit of history. Mardi Gras is a celebration of Fat Tuesday, or the Tuesday before Ash Wednesday, which signals the beginning of Lent, which for 40 days you are supposed to give up something. So Fat Tuesday is a celebration of food, music, drink, and a lot of parades. I personally have never been to a Mardi Gras celebration, but I wanted to take this time to travel to New Orleans via some food here. But I did my research. People have been celebrating Mardi Gras actually since the medieval times. It is a Christian tradition brought over from Europe. It is also a part of the Carnival celebration. So the Carnival season starts on the Epiphany, which is Three Kings Day, which I'm forgetting, but it starts at the Epiphany or Three Kings Day and ends on Ash Wednesday. And the culmination, which is Mardi Gras, which is Fat Tuesday in French, and it is an absolute celebration. So to celebrate Mardi Gras here in this house in Tennessee, there are no parades, kind of boring, but whatever. I am going to do two key Louisiana staples. I'm going to make gumbo, and I'm going to make the Mardi Gras tradition of king cake. I have made gumbo once before, years ago. It was delicious, but it was very labor and time intensive. I am incorporating some what I know to be authentic Louisiana flavors into my gumbo. I'm also making my own stock using the shrimp heads and shells. I'm using some Cajun seasoning, Tony Chachere's, from what I'm understanding, also commonly known as just Tony's. I'm also using a Cajun or Creole seasoning called Salson, which I believe is like a bouillon type seasoning. So I'm trying to make it as authentic as possible, or as authentic as I know. Then is the Mardi Gras staple of the king cake. I have never had or made a king cake. I know that a lot of people have a lot of opinions and preferences when it comes to king cake. But since I have neither made it nor had it, I'm gonna keep my king cake traditional today, but upon expert recommendations that I have in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Alex and Sam, that they prefer the cream cheese filling and the cream cheese icing. So I'm gonna go with one of the two, which is the cream cheese icing, because king cake just kind of looks like a cinnamon roll, but you make it a cake, which I'm very excited for. It looks awesome. With that, let's get to celebrating Mardi Gras here in this kitchen. We're gonna make gumbo and king cake. I'm going to get some of this decoration off, get my hair up, blazer off, and let's get cooking.
We're starting with the king cake. The recipe is from the Preppy Kitchen because he's amazing. About 3 1/4 cups of flour and 3/4 cup of white sugar and a whole packet of instant yeast, plus some salt and a nice sprinkle of nutmeg. Then you have 1/2 cup of melted butter and adding some milk that it warms up the milk, and that way it's all nice for the yeast. And then we have 3 eggs, room temp, in a separate cup, so no shells. Slowly add in your butter and milk, followed by a big glug of vanilla, and one by one your room temperature eggs until it forms a batter. And then you are going to knead this dough for 15 minutes. It's a long time, but it is so fragrant and elastic and delicious. Cover and rest until doubled in size. Mine took about an hour and a half. In the meantime, we're starting on our seafood stock. Southern cooking, in particular gumbo, is known for its use of the Trinity, which is a take on the French mirepoix, but you're subbing out carrots with peppers. So what we have here is the ends of an onion, a whole head of garlic, the offcuts from celery, and the offcuts from peppers as well. All of this combined makes the Trinity, so the onions, celery, and the peppers. The garlic is also called the Pope, fun fact. cuts. You're gonna put the veg aside, add some herbs. I had parsley and then the sazon, which is an adobo-like seasoning. Then we have our main character, our head-on, tail-on shrimp. So we're gonna take a knife, remove the head, add it to the stock pot, and then you're gonna run your finger along the belly of the shrimp, breaking off the shell on one side. Now the best way to get all of the meat is to pinch the bottom of the tail and at the same time pulling on the meat, and the full tail will come out. Put the whole shell in the stock pot and you're left with a beautiful shrimp. Put a lid on it and back in the fridge. Next, we're gonna add some black peppercorns, some bay leaves, and some thyme. And we're gonna cover that with water entirely because we're gonna need a lot of stock. Once your stock is totally covered, we're going to set to high and bring to a boil. Once you're boiling, reduce to low, and we're gonna let this go for like an hour or two. So take this free time while the cake is resting and your stock is going to take your nice dog on a nice long walk. Once your dough is doubled in size, it's time to shape. Melt a 1/4 cup of butter, add 3/4 cup of brown sugar and some cinnamon, making a little paste. I should have added more butter. It was a bit dry, but I didn't. Sprinkle your workstation and slowly pat out your dough. You're gonna want it to be longer than mine. I didn't know that at the time, but you're going to roll it out and spread your mixture evenly. If you have some bare spots, add some brown sugar. Then, just like a cinnamon roll, you're going to try to roll as tightly as possible, dusting off any excess flour you find. Transfer to a lined baking sheet and roll into a circle. It was here that I realized that we had a thick king cake on our hands, but that's okay, not to worry. So you roll into a ball and then you're going to kind of stitch the dough together so it doesn't come apart the best you can. You can add water. I should have added more water, but here we are. Cover and rest for another hour. After that, it's time to make some gashes in our dough so it can rise, and then we're baking at 350. Now, mine seeped a little bit, but the color was great. It had to bake a long time because it was thick, but he did bake all of the way with only mild seepage. Back to our gumbo. Our liquid gold, stock is done. Just look at that. The whole house smelled amazing. We're going to strain that out, making sure there's another bowl underneath your strainer, and get every drop you can and discard. Next, you're gonna take your andouille sausage. I trusted this one because it had someone's grandma on the front, so that's gotta be good, right? And some lard or bacon grease. I had some bacon grease. So cut up your andouille sausage, and we are going to pan sear our andouille sausage in the grease. This is gonna add another layer of flavor because we are adding more flavor to the grease we're using for our roux. Once the sausage is crisp, you're gonna remove that and we're gonna add it back in later. Then you are going to slowly add in a cup of flour. I say slowly because ideally you want a 1-to-1 ratio for your roux. A cup of oil to a cup of flour. So I just slowly added in more flour versus more oil until it got to a nice liquidy gravy consistency, and I had added my full cup of flour. Then throw on your favorite TV show, get a mat by your counter because you're in for the long haul. You're gonna be needing to whisk this roux constantly until it is a dark chocolate brown. This takes about 30 minutes to do correctly. You're gonna think you're there. You're gonna think you're almost there. But you are not there until it looks like dark, melted chocolate. Now, this color is like a dark milk chocolate. Oh, it's delicious. But once you're there, it's awesome. You're gonna add your Trinity and you're gonna mix it in. It will boil up, so just be careful. So you're gonna mix in your Trinity there. Then you're gonna add a big scoop of garlic. I forgot to cup some. And then you're gonna season. I have Slap Ya Mama, garlic powder, onion powder, and some smoked paprika. I could not find my Tony Chachere's, but Slap Your Mama helped. Then you're going to add in your stock. I like to add it in a little bit at a time so the roux doesn't seize. And just slowly stir that in. Once you add all your stock, now is the time. If you have any raw chicken or meat that take a while to cook, you add it in there. If not, you just let that bubble and simmer. Go watch the sunset until it's thickened up almost like a gravy. When it's almost like a gravy, you add in your cooked meats. I have chicken and sausage, and then any quick cooking shellfish like shrimp. And oh my Lord, my house smelled delicious. The gumbo was thick, but not a stew, almost like a gravy, and it was delicious. Take the gumbo that you worked so hard, pour it over rice. I kind of did it around and try a pretty way, but didn't really help. Top with some parsley, let cool just a little bit, and enjoy. Once your cake has completely cooled, you are going to make a cream cheese icing. Equal parts butter and cream cheese, cream them together in a blender, add a big glug of vanilla, and slowly add powdered sugar with a pinch of salt until you get a lovely, fluffy cream cheese icing. Then you're going to take your king cake and your frosting and your trusty offset spatula, and you are going to smooth that icing all over the cake. Now it's time to decorate. We have sugar sprinkles here in purple, green, and gold, the official colors of Mardi Gras here. And we are going to alternate these sprinkles until we have our completed king cake. Again, we have a thick king this year, okay? Definitely room for improvement, but it was cooked all the way through. It was fluffy, it was delicious. And there we have our Mardi Gras feast. Perfect gumbo, a delicious king cake to celebrate Fat Tuesday.
Guys, we freaking did it. We turned this kitchen in the middle of Tennessee into a wonderful Mardi Gras experience. Now, very tame, but time intensive. I had so much fun at making the gumbo and the king cake yesterday. The king cake, listen, my shaping leaves some things to be desired, okay? I get that. It was my first time and it really kind of looked like, honestly, it was like kind of the same shape and size as like a sleeping cat. We'll try it again some other time, but the flavor was great. I liked adding the nutmeg to the dough. I think it made it really warm, really delicious, and who doesn't love a cinnamon roll cake? Everybody loves it, okay? The gumbo is so intensely satisfying. It's so savory. Going through the lengths of making the stock, making sure the roux is a really deep caramel, and layering these flavors adds so much complexity, and it is an intensely delicious and a satisfying gumbo. I highly recommend you trying it. Now, it takes a while. I thought I could do it all in a day. It is not. It's 10:30 in the morning the next day. It takes time, it takes work, it takes a little technique, but it is so worth it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you try any of these recipes. And have a wonderful, safe, and fun Mardi Gras and Bon Temps Rouler. I'll catch you all on the next one.